What if your every thought echoed through the universe? What if your fears, your dreams, your deepest emotions weren't just private experiences but patterns reflected in the cosmos itself? The phrase, "as above, so below," isn't just poetic. It's a secret blueprint, a mirror. Found etched into the emerald tablet over 1,000 years ago, it whispers of a reality far more interconnected than we're taught to believe. From your cells to the stars, from your breath to the Big Bang, patterns repeat, structures align. But here's the real question. If the universe mirrors your inner world, what have you been broadcasting? And more importantly, can you change the reflection? There's a reason the phrase, "as above, so below, as within, so without," has survived across millennia, religions, and civilizations. It's not just poetic symmetry, it's a spiritual cipher, a riddle embedded in the foundations of Hermetic philosophy, a school of thought said to be passed down from the mythical sage Hermes Trismegistus. But here's what most people miss. This isn't about superstition or ancient mythology. This is about correspondence, a principle suggesting that the structure of reality is mirrored across all scales. What happens up there reflects down here. What happens inside you ripples outside of you. The Emerald Tablet, the legendary Hermetic text, puts it simply: that which is below is like that which is above, and that which is above is like that which is below, to accomplish the miracles of the one thing. Let that sink in. It's saying that the same intelligence that moves the stars also shapes your thoughts, that there is no true separation between the cosmos and your consciousness, only reflection. Like nested Russian dolls, the micro and macrocosms spiral into one another. It's not metaphor, it's architecture. Ancient mystics believed that if you understood one layer of reality, be it your body, your dreams, or a star in the sky, you could decode the entire universe. The human being wasn't a speck in the void, it was a key. This idea wasn't confined to the mystical underground. The same logic echoed in ancient Egypt, where the temple walls of Luxor described the body of man as the temple of the gods. In Kabbalah, the tree of life is mapped both to the human soul and to the cosmos. In Vedantic philosophy, the Atman, the individual soul, is identical to Brahman, the absolute reality. And in all these traditions, one thing remains constant. You are not separate from the universe, you are its reflection. But this raises a challenging question. If your life feels chaotic or stagnant, is it because the universe is against you? Or because your internal world, your below, has gone ignored, polluted, or disconnected? As above, so below isn't just a comfort, it's a confrontation. The ancient mystics didn't have microscopes, telescopes, or particle accelerators, yet somehow they intuited a truth that modern science is only now catching up to. Today, when scientists peer into the deepest layers of matter or zoom out into the architecture of galaxies, something bizarre appears: patterns, repetition, geometry. The spiraling arms of galaxies mirror the spirals of DNA. The branching of neurons resembles the structure of cosmic webs. The shape of a hurricane echoes the swirl of a seashell, and beneath it all lies a code: the Fibonacci sequence, the golden ratio, sacred geometry, mathematical harmonies that repeat themselves at every level of scale. Coincidence or correspondence? Take fractals, those infinitely repeating patterns found in nature, from snowflakes to Romanesco broccoli to cloud formations. No matter how closely you zoom in, you'll find the same basic structure echoed again and again. Fractals are the literal, visual representation of as above, so below. Even at the atomic level, quantum physicists have discovered that particles don't exist in isolation. They're entangled, linked across space and time. Change one particle here and the other responds instantly, even if it's on the other side of the universe. Einstein called this spooky action at a distance, but Hermeticists would call it obvious. Why? Because everything is connected, not metaphorically, literally. Physicist Nassim Haramein argues that the entire universe is a unified field of energy, a fractal hologram where each part contains information about the whole. David Bohm, a quantum theorist, called it the implicate order, a deeper layer of reality where separation is an illusion. And then there's sacred geometry, the belief that shapes like the circle, triangle, and pentagon aren't just human inventions, but reflections of a universal design. These shapes appear in everything, from the atomic structure of crystals to the layout of galaxies, from the petals of a flower to the pyramids of Giza. Ask yourself, why would nature bother with such symmetry? Why would your body, your brain, your blood vessels, your breath, why would it all follow the same underlying structure as planets and star systems, unless it's all part of the same source code, a blueprint written into reality itself? So the next time you see a sunflower, a snowflake, or a spiral staircase, know this: you're not just looking at beauty, you're looking at evidence of a universe that reflects itself in every form, including you. If the universe is a mirror, the most important question becomes, what are you reflecting? The Hermetic principle of correspondence isn't just about the stars and atoms, it's about you, your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs. These aren't passive experiences. They're signals, broadcasting frequencies that ripple outward and mold your perception of reality. Think about it. Two people can walk through the same city on the same day and experience completely different worlds. One sees beauty, synchronicity, opportunities. The other sees danger, chaos, and disappointment. Same environment, different reflection. Why? Because reality isn't something you just observe. It's something you project onto. This isn't just spiritual poetry. It's backed by neuroscience. The brain filters reality through what's called the reticular activating system, RAS, a network that decides what you pay attention to based on your internal beliefs. If you believe life is unfair, your mind will scan for evidence to prove it. If you believe abundance is possible, your awareness will begin to highlight chances you didn't notice before. In other words, as within, so without. Your inner chaos breeds outer chaos. Your inner clarity births synchronicity. Your subconscious mind acts like a projector, and the world becomes your screen. Ever noticed how people in victim mindsets tend to attract more struggle? Or how people who radiate peace seem to walk through life like it's cooperating with them? It's not magic, it's alignment. You're constantly in conversation with the universe. The problem is, most of us don't realize we're the ones initiating it. We think we're reacting to life, but often we're just witnessing our internal state echoing back at us. This is why ancient practices like mindfulness, meditation, breathwork are so powerful. They're not just relaxation techniques, they're recalibrations of your frequency. They shift your baseline. They retune your mirror, and when you become conscious of what you're broadcasting, when you choose your thoughts like you'd choose a seed to plant, your external life begins to change in subtle, then unmistakable ways. Because spiritual truth is not abstract, it's practical. So ask yourself, if your outer world feels disordered, what's happening within? What inner clutter, fear, or resentment might be distorting the mirror? And if that's the case, then doesn't it mean you can change your world by changing the reflection? Alchemy, the ancient art of turning base metals into gold. But true alchemists weren't just after treasure, they were after transcendence. They believed that the process of purifying metals was symbolic of something far greater, the transformation of the human soul, turning the lead of fear, shame, and unconscious patterns into the gold of wisdom, love, and self-mastery. And here's the kicker. This transformation follows the same Hermetic law. As within, so without. The real transmutation isn't found in a lab. It happens in your inner crucible, your emotions, your traumas, your reactions. Every time you resist an urge to act out of fear, every time you choose stillness over chaos, clarity over confusion, you are refining yourself. Just like lead, your pain holds potential. Just like fire, your challenges are catalysts. The same heat that melts can also mold. In Jungian psychology, this process mirrors what's known as integration of the shadow. It's when you stop repressing the parts of yourself that you fear, your rage, your insecurity, your guilt, and instead bring them into the light of awareness. Not to indulge them, but to understand them, to transmute them, because here's the secret. What you suppress doesn't disappear. It festers, and eventually it reflects. Ever found yourself stuck in the same kinds of relationships, the same arguments, the same financial blocks? That's not just bad luck. That's unresolved energy repeating itself until you listen. Transformation isn't about becoming someone else. It's about remembering who you were before the wounds, the programming, the projections. It's peeling away what you are not, so what you truly are can emerge. And just like the alchemist, this isn't done in one night. It's a process, a sacred rhythm, a daily dance between consciousness and choice. The ancient Hermeticists didn't separate the spiritual from the physical. They knew the body was the laboratory, the heart was the furnace, the mind was the instrument, and the soul was the gold. So if you've ever felt broken, good. That's where the gold is hiding. Now ask yourself, what in your life is asking to be transmuted? What fear can become courage? What chaos can become clarity? Because when you change what's inside, everything outside follows. Look closely at the natural world and you'll start to see something astonishing. It doesn't move in straight lines. It moves in cycles. Seasons rotate, the moon waxes and wanes, tides rise and fall. Even your body runs on repeating rhythms, heartbeats, breath, hormonal flows, sleep cycles. But here's where it gets interesting. These cycles aren't random. They're mirrors. What happens in the cosmos above is echoed in the biology below. The menstrual cycle follows the same 28-day rhythm. As the lunar phases, the water in your body responds to the pull of the moon, just like the ocean. The Fibonacci sequence found in sunflower spirals also appears in your DNA. This is correspondence in motion. Ancient civilizations knew this. They planted crops by the stars, built temples aligned with solstices, meditated during planetary conjunctions because they understood. If you move with the cycles, you move with the universe. But modern life has severed us from these patterns. We try to grind every day as if it's the same. We treat time as linear, as if success, healing, or growth should happen in a straight upward trajectory. Yet nature says otherwise. Real transformation comes in spirals. We revisit old wounds from new levels of awareness. We go through winters, not as failures, but as necessary rest before the next spring. Even your emotions follow patterns. Carl Jung once said, "What you resist not only persists, but grows in size." The things you ignore will loop back again and again until you face them. And this cyclical repetition doesn't only apply to personal life. It's cosmic. Atoms orbit nuclei, planets orbit stars, galaxies spin. Everything dances in circles, fractals, feedback loops. So if life feels like it's repeating itself, pause before judging it. Ask instead, what is this moment mirroring to me? What haven't I learned yet? What rhythm have I fallen out of? You're not just living in the universe. You're dancing with it, and when you begin to tune into the rhythms, your breath, the seasons, your emotions, the lunar tides, you stop fighting the flow and start co-creating with it. This is the wisdom of the Hermetic path. Know the cycles, mirror the truth, transform the dance. Long before neuroscience began mapping the brain, Carl Jung was charting the soul. To Jung, the mind wasn't just a container for personal memories or fleeting thoughts. It was a mirror of the cosmos, a deep, mysterious landscape shaped by forces far beyond the individual. And central to his theory was this: the personal unconscious is nested within a collective unconscious, a vast reservoir of shared human experience, archetypes and symbols. In other words, as within, so without. But also, as below consciousness, so above awareness. This collective unconscious isn't abstract, it's active. It influences our behaviors, our dreams, our fears, even the myths we're drawn to. It's why ancient cultures that never met still created gods of war, mother figures, trickster spirits, and hero journeys. Why? Because those stories weren't just cultural, they were psychic blueprints. They emerged from the same deep structure, reflections of the same archetypal truth. Take the shadow, for instance, one of Jung's most potent concepts. It's the part of yourself you reject or hide, the anger, the fear, the shame, the envy. You bury it, but it never disappears. And here's the Hermetic twist. What you repress internally begins to manifest externally. That's the law of correspondence, the relationships that trigger you, the patterns that haunt you, the situations that seem to follow you everywhere. They're not random. They're mirrors reflecting what lies unresolved inside. Jung understood this intimately. He called it projection. The unconscious mind casts inner contents onto the outer world, and we mistake them for reality. But what if reality is just that? A projection, a mirror of mind. Sound familiar? It's the same message found in Hermetic texts, Buddhist philosophy, even quantum theories of the observer effect. Consciousness shapes perception. Perception shapes reality. So when you heal a belief, integrate a wound, or reclaim a disowned part of yourself, you don't just feel better, you see differently. You interact with the world differently. You alter the reflection. The journey of spiritual awakening is the journey of making the unconscious conscious. It's meeting your own darkness so it no longer controls you. It's recognizing your story as one thread in the fabric of humanity's myth. You are not isolated. You are archetypal. You are cosmic. Your mind is a constellation of symbols, and every one of them points back to the same truth. As above, so below, as within, so without. Spirituality isn't just something you do on a mountain retreat or in a deep meditation. It's not limited to chanting mantras, lighting candles, or reading sacred texts. It's in how you drink your morning tea, how you respond to a difficult conversation, how you breathe when you're overwhelmed, how you treat your body when no one's watching. This is the essence of Hermetic living. Inner order becomes outer harmony. Inner chaos becomes outer struggle. You don't have to understand fractals or archetypes to feel this. You know it intuitively. Think of a time when your mind was calm, your emotions steady, your breath slow and full. Even if the world around you was noisy, didn't it feel somehow manageable, clearer? That's not coincidence. That's resonance. Your inner frequency was in tune, and so the world reflected that harmony back to you. This is why practices like meditation, breathwork, journaling, conscious eating, and movement are so much more than wellness trends. They're ancient technologies, mirrors in motion, ways of synchronizing your internal field with the larger rhythms of nature and cosmos. When your mind is cluttered, your space often is too. When your thoughts are anxious, your body tenses. When your soul is quiet, everything around you starts to slow down. These aren't metaphors, these are mechanics. Take the practice of mindful walking. It sounds simple, But when done with awareness, feeling the ground beneath your feet, observing your breath, noticing the tension in your shoulders, it becomes a ritual of realignment. You are literally bringing the below, body, earth, into harmony with the above, consciousness, spirit. This is what ancient mystics and modern mystics agree on. The divine isn't far away. It's encoded in the mundane, in your routines, in your habits, in your presence. The great alchemists weren't just working in labs, they were working in life, refining how they showed up moment to moment, polishing the mirror. And that's the opportunity we all have every day, to spiritualize the ordinary, to turn breathing into prayer, eating into communion, silence into wisdom. Because when you live with intentionality, you begin to realize something radical. You're not just reflecting the universe, you're helping shape it. We often think transformation is about one grand moment, one breakthrough, one realization, one dramatic shift. But the Hermetic principle teaches something different. It's the little things, done with consistency and intention, that shape your life and your universe. Why? Because as within, so without doesn't just apply to your beliefs or emotions. It applies to your habits, to the rituals you repeat, to the choices you make without thinking. Every time you wake up and check your phone before checking in with yourself, you're reinforcing a habit of external dependence. Every time you hydrate your body, stretch your spine, breathe deeply, you're sending a signal to the universe. I'm cultivating internal order, and the universe responds. Accordingly, this isn't just philosophy, it's neuroscience. Your brain runs on neuroplasticity, meaning it rewires itself based on what you repeatedly do. Thoughts become patterns. Patterns become behaviors. Behaviors become personality, and your personality becomes your reality. Disordered habits reflect a disordered mind, but disciplined, intentional habits reflect a mind in harmony with higher principles. This is why the Hermeticists emphasize discipline, not as repression, but as liberation. Because when you master your daily rituals, you begin to master your life. Take ritual water intake. It may seem trivial, but what is water? It's the medium of life, a conductor of vibration. Drinking it consciously becomes a prayer, a micro-alchemy, one where you cleanse not just the body, but your energetic field, or take movement. Walking, stretching, dancing, all of these are sacred when done with awareness. You're not just exercising, you're reminding the body it's part of the universal flow. Even your speech is a habit. What words do you default to? Are you constantly affirming limitation? I'm tired, I'm broke, I can't. Or are you speaking from the vibration of possibility? Remember, energy follows attention. Attention becomes intention. Intention becomes action. Action becomes reality. So if your habits are misaligned with your higher self, don't wait for a massive awakening. Start small, start daily. Because every sip of water, every breath, every decision is a line of code, rewriting the script of your life. And that's the secret alchemists knew. You don't change your life by wishing. You change it by repatterning the mirror. What if everything you see, every tree, every person, every experience, isn't just a fragment of reality, but a complete reflection of the whole? That's the essence of the holographic universe theory. And strangely enough, it sounds like a scientific echo of Hermetic wisdom. In a hologram, each part contains all the information of the entire image. Break it into pieces, and each piece still holds the whole, just at a lower resolution. This isn't philosophy, it's physics. Physicist David Bohm, a protege of Einstein, believed that our universe operates on two levels: the explicate order, what we perceive as physical reality; the implicate order, a deeper, hidden level where everything is interconnected. In Bohm's model, the entire universe is a holographic field, which means every part of you, every cell, every thought, is entangled with the cosmos, and if that sounds familiar, it should. As above, so below. As within, so without. The part reflects the whole. The Hermeticists were whispering this truth long before modern science could model it. They knew that the human being was not just a speck of dust floating in an infinite universe. The human being was the key, a microcosm of the macrocosm, a gateway. Even the pioneering work of Benoit Mandelbrot, who developed fractal mathematics, supports this view. Zoom into a fractal and you'll see the same pattern. Repeat, no matter how deep you go. The same self-similarity over and over, at every scale. And now, with quantum computing and string theory, we're starting to glimpse the possibility that the very fabric of reality is encoded like information. In other words, the universe might not be a machine. It might be a mind, projecting itself into form. You're not just in the universe. You might be a pixel of its consciousness, a self-aware fragment experiencing itself in this specific time and place. This redefines everything. Your pain is not isolated, it echoes through the field. Your healing ripples outward like a code update through a shared network. Your insights shift the signal being broadcast, because if each of us is a reflection of the whole, then every act of alignment, every moment of clarity becomes a universal correction. And perhaps that's what spiritual awakening really is. Not becoming something new, but remembering what you already are, a living fractal, a conscious hologram, a mirror of the infinite. So we return to the question we began with. If the universe is a mirror, what are you reflecting? The Hermetic principle of as above, so below, as within, so without, isn't meant to be admired from afar. It's meant to be lived daily, consciously, courageously. Because here's the truth most people avoid. You're already creating your reality. You're already sending signals into the field through your thoughts, your habits, your choices, your emotions. The question isn't whether you're manifesting. The question is, are you doing it intentionally or unconsciously? Every moment is a broadcast, and the universe, it's not judging, it's reflecting. If you send out confusion, you'll get chaos. If you send out resentment, you'll get friction. But if you send out clarity, coherence, compassion, watch what happens. Intentional. Living doesn't mean perfection, it means presence. It means remembering that your words have weight, your thoughts have gravity, and your actions ripple through dimensions you can't even see. When you align your beliefs with your behavior, when you bring your subconscious into conscious awareness, when you live like every step matters, you stop living reactively and start living alchemically. This is the true gold of Hermetic wisdom, the understanding that transformation isn't just personal, it's cosmic. When you heal, you contribute to the healing of the whole. When you forgive, you shift a pattern embedded in generations. When you walk in alignment, you light a path for others in the dark. So start small. Speak your truth with compassion. Wake up with reverence. Make your coffee like a ritual. Choose your thoughts like a gardener chooses seeds. Because the world doesn't change when you fix it. It changes when you reflect something new. And the mirror is always watching. If the universe is holographic, fractal, and reflective, then every moment is sacred, every decision a prayer, every heartbeat a ripple through the cosmos. So pause, breathe, and ask yourself, am I living as a distortion or as a reflection of divine intelligence? Because as above, so below isn't a riddle to solve. It's a responsibility to live. If this video stirred something inside you, if it made you see yourself or your life through a new lens, tap that like button and let the algorithm mirror that energy back to others who need to hear this. 2. Subscribe if you're ready for more journeys into the hidden mechanics of reality, the psychology of the soul, and the secrets behind the veil. And don't stop here. There are other videos waiting on this channel right now, ready to unlock the next layer. They should be appearing on the screen any second. Pick the one that calls to you. Until then, stay curious, stay aligned, and remember, the universe isn't watching you, it's reflecting you.